Hello, everybody. It's Gary Stuckey with Journey News. I don't know if you've heard by now, but Neil Schon has confirmed that former keyboardist for Journey, Gregg Rolie, will be returning for the 50th anniversary tour coming up very soon. And a lot of people are excited. I'm excited. Still a fan of Jonathan Cain. But let's see what Neil said in a post on Facebook. And a fan commented on Neil's post. It says, I am so looking forward to this, talking about the 50th anniversary tour. Please tell me Gregg Rolie is coming along for the ride. He's the better keyboard player and a co-founder. It only seems right. Timing couldn't be better either. And Neil Schon says, you'll be seeing him. So it sounds like he will be playing for the tour. Does that mean he'll be playing the entire tour? I don't know. Does that mean Jonathan Cain is out and Gregg is in? I don't know. But it might just be a Journey Through Time 2.0. I really love that they were bringing back the classic songs. Of course, you had Dean Castronovo singing the Steve Perry songs. Don't know if that would happen. You've got Ornell also. That might free him up, give him a break a little bit, for Dean to sing and have those classic songs with Gregg singing too. So cool. And Jonathan Cain, I don't know. I don't like to get into the drama of everything. It does seem like, if you look over on Twitter, that Neil is kind of still commenting about some things to do with Jonathan and, about what he's done and their feuds and everything. And even, some recent posts that kind of makes it sound like, he doesn't want him in the band anymore. And he's trying to, I think he says that Jonathan is trying to dictate the band. There was a post earlier today that Neil said that he won't be dictated since he did create the band. It's his band. He's not going to let, he didn't say this, but he's talking about Jonathan Cain. He's not going to let Jonathan Cain dictate what he wants to do. He's got a point, though. I mean, it is his band. He's the only original member in the band. If only Herbie Herbert were around, right? But that's not the case. Neil's band. I mean, it's sad to see this happening. Here it is, the anniversary, the 40th anniversary of Separate Ways, and they're going the separate ways. They're having some issues with one another. And for me, with this channel, it's kind of like a tale of two songs. Don't Stop Believing seemed to be a theme for a while. It started me with this channel, and it started me with Steve Perry and Journey in the hopes that maybe they'd get back together and do something, and it still may happen. You can never say never, right? And through all the ups and downs and the Don't Stop Believing, you've seen Don't Stop Believing everywhere. On TV and movies and covers and just everywhere. It's been everywhere. And then Separate Ways suddenly, right? Of Stranger Things. And then you've got Chris Daughtry doing a cover released today on the 40th anniversary of the release of Separate Ways. Yeah, 40 years ago today. Hard to believe. But that seems to be the big song, Separate Ways. And it's almost like, you go from Don't Stop Believing to Separate Ways is the theme. And I guess it kind of fits. Sadly, it kind of fits because of what's happened. And I was going to do some different videos on these subjects. I've talked about it before. 50th anniversary is coming up very soon. The tour will begin. And, it's cool. Like I said, for Gregg Rolie to be on board, I want to see that. Haven't seen him with Journey. So that would be really cool. Would still like to see Jonathan Cain, the band, but if they can't work it out, maybe it's better for Jonathan to be on his own, and do his own thing and to go separate on a separate way. But, who's to say, you know? But somebody had sent me a message recently, and I was just funning them, and they thought that I had heard information that Steve was going to join for the 50th anniversary. You know, I'd hoped. There's always that hope. But no, I don't have any information that says he is coming. You know, I think Neil has said no, and you know, different things like that. I'm not going to go against that, you know, but there's always this little slim chance and hope. You know, there's odds for everything. There's chances. There are odds. What's the odds of somebody winning the lottery? But yet somebody wins every day somewhere, right? I don't know. Just throwing it out there. I may do some scenarios. I was gonna do different videos, but I may just have fun here. I think we're all having fun. I'm kind of excited about the Gregg thing. I like Gregg. But let's throw out some scenarios, okay? Let's do this. Scenario one, which I guess is kind of the obvious one that may happen like this. Gregg comes back for the 50th anniversary tour, and he shares a stage with Jonathan Cain, and they keep going. And they do the old and newer songs, and things, you know, kind of go back to normal to a degree, but Gregg is on board. That would be pretty cool. That may be a good possibility of what's going to happen. However, you know, if Neil really pushes it and Jonathan gets tired of being in the band, you know, Gregg comes back, and it's just Gregg doing the old songs, you know, with Dean, and it's like the Journey Through Time 2.0. And of course, you got Jason backing up on keyboards, and he'll probably help out, you know, and sing too, you know. But that's a pretty good chance of that, right? In scenario number 3, drum roll, please. Yeah, that's right. Scenario number 3, Steve Perry comes back along with Gregg, and it's the coolest tour ever, the 50th anniversary. And I say that, you know, I know Neil has said no and things like that. You know, people change, things change. And what I've been thinking about, Steve had a suit filed against Neil and Jonathan. So those two guys were working together. So maybe it wasn't so much Steve's, you know, filing a suit against Neil as it was Jonathan. But since those two were together, maybe that's why Steve decided to do it, you know. And I've said before in past videos that Steve has kind of shown some just hard feelings against Jonathan, especially, you know, I think since he was the one that gave him the call that day, told him they're going to move on without him whenever he had the surgery. They were going to find another singer, which eventually became, you know, Steve Algeri. And, you know, Steve and Jonathan were close back in the early days of Trial by Fire, you know, and it hasn't been really been talked about, you know, but I think that during those earlier times when Steve came into the recording studio with a Bible, and Steve influenced Jonathan, you know, and Jonathan went on to change his life and things like that. Of course, he married Paula White, and things are going good, you know, despite the ups and downs with Neil and everything. You know, I think Steve was a big part of that spiritual aspect of everything, and then the Trial by Fire, the spiritual themes of that whole album. It was just like a spiritual moment, you know, and maybe that was why Steve was so hurt by the whole thing. There had been this bond between those three, and maybe especially with Jonathan there for a while. And whenever he called him and said that they're moving on, it just kind of, it hurt him. So, I mean, that's just something I've been thinking about. And of course, you have the album cover, the Traces album cover, right? And on that album cover, you see broken keys to a piano And then you have Neil Sean's guitar with a dove on it. So they made peace, but maybe with Jonathan they never did. And that just has stuck with me, even though I've said some things about the album after that, the alternative versions. There was a keyboard, there was a piano actually, and a guitar, and I thought maybe that just signifies them working things out. But still, I don't know. I don't know how that has been fixed, and something just tells me that there's a big uh, void there with Steve and John. There's some hurt still there, and I don't think it's been resolved. And I think that maybe Neil knows that the only way Steve would come back to Journey would be if John was out. And Neil hasn't said that. You know, he talked to Sammy Hagar one day about how he thought that he would work with Steve again outside of Journey, but he didn't see Steve return to Journey, I think, for that reason. And Neil said that he had been speaking to Steve, but that was before the suit was filed against he and Jonathan. But there again, that was Neil and John together. So I don't know. But that's just my scenario. That would make sense to me if Jonathan's out, Gregg's back, Steve comes back, and they do this 50th anniversary explosion, a massive tour with Steve and Gregg. And I don't know. It's just something to think about. I'm just throwing it out there. And I know I repeat myself a lot on some of these things, but it's just topics that maybe everybody hasn't heard. I'm just kind of summarizing what I've been talking about for the past 4 years. But that's a scenario I hope that happens. And we shall see. But odds are, talk about odds, the first one or the second scenario probably. But you can never stop believing, right? Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this. This is really much, it's like for entertainment purposes. You know, I speculate, I have fun, but, I never stop believing. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe if you haven't already and share it with all your friends. Share it on Facebook to all these groups. It's just something to think about, people. Just something to think about. And regardless of what happens, we've got Journey music to listen to, the good times. We'll always have that forever. And Steve will still be doing his own thing. It's going to be okay. Until next time, everybody, this is Gary Stuckey saying whatever you do, don't stop believing. God bless you.